Hi everyone, it's Jessica. Today I'm going to be scrapbooking this cute picture of my 3 children from a few years ago, and I am making this page as part of the February 2022 Craft IQ Challenge. Now, if you are visiting my channel because you are hopping along and seeing all of the talented people who have created based on this challenge, then you kind of know what's up. But if not, the real quick version of it is, if you saw that picture at the beginning of the video, it listed 7 different layers, and those are 7 things that I have to include on my layout. And the first one is that I need to have a pattern paper background, and my pattern paper needs to have at least 3 colors in it. So I've decided that rather than using just one piece of pattern paper, that I'm going to pull in 3 different pieces. And I made sure that each of my 3 pieces of pattern paper all had 3 or more colors in them. And these particular papers are from Close to My Heart's As You Grow collection, and it's really a baby theme collection, but I've been using it for everything but, because I'm past scrapbooking babies, and I just think that they're really pretty floral papers. So I'm going to create my pattern background by just kind of putting these 3 patterns together, and I cut 2 of each of them, and I believe I cut them at 3 by 4 inches. And now I'm just kind of playing around with what order I'm going to have them in. And then I also went to the Picture My Life cards that are part of that same As You Grow collection, and I just pulled a couple of scraps for some additional patterns, and I'm going to make a couple of little flags that I'm going to put across the top of my page. Now, I am working off of a post that I found on Pinterest, and that was my inspiration, and that post is from Scrapbook Generation. And but you know, I really, other than, I did find that post and then it kind of started to come together for me, but you're going to see me struggle quite a bit along the way as I'm putting this layout together. I tried to cut some of it out, but I don't know. There was just something about this particular layout that was fighting me right from the very beginning. At first, I wasn't sure what picture to use, and then I wasn't sure what papers to use. And it was just a struggle from start to end. I'm not going to lie, I may have nearly cried a few times, which was silly because I love scrapbooking, and the 7 layers were not even actually very challenging ones. It should have come together easier. I don't know. I think I was just feeling a lot of pressure because I really loved this picture and I wanted it to be a special layout. I don't know. Do you ever feel that way when you're scrapbooking, a particular picture, and just, I don't know, the pressure was on, and it made me really worried as I was pulling this all together. So, all right, what I'm going to do is another layer that I need to include is to ink my edges. And so I will grab my Harbor ink pad here. And Harbor is the color that is featured in these papers. And at first I was thinking maybe Rosemary because that's the green color, but then I decided to go with Harbor. And I'm just going to swipe my ink pad across the edge of my papers because, again, like I said, that's another one of the layers for this challenge, was to ink the edges. But then I decided that I wanted to have a little bit of a softer look. So I grabbed my foam blending tool, and I'm going to use that to pick up my Harbor ink color instead. Usually I just swipe the ink pad right across the paper, and it's much quicker that way, but it doesn't leave as much color on the paper. And like I said, I wanted this to have a little bit of a softer look. And so I will not make you watch me do all of that, but I do go around and do that to all of the papers, including that strip of Harbor cardstock that I have there over to the left-hand side, that I believe I cut to maybe 1 inch. I think it's 1 by 12 inches. And then, like I said, these other ones are 3 by 4. Okay, and so now I have added all of that, including a strip of silver shimmer trim because I needed to add silver as well. And again, it was like each time I got one more layer done, I'd kind of get stuck and I'd sit, and I walked away from this page several times. Like, it took me about a week to put it together. And then I thought, you know what? Okay, I can do this next layer, which is to add a textile. So that could have been ribbon or twine or lace or anything like that. I decided to go with thread because I really love hand stitching on my projects. And so I thought, okay, well, that's an easy one. Let's just go ahead and make a stitch up here at the top across these flags. And I decided to use all 6 strands of my embroidery thread, and then I used a chain link stitch. And so again, I won't make you watch all of it, but I did put that up there across the top, and that turned out really pretty. I just picked a piece of thread color that looked the same as that Harbor color, and so that's up there. Okay, and then again, I'm like, now what, now what? I turned to the sticker sheet that goes along with this paper collection because I did need to add, this is really weird, flower smacking. I'm not sure. We had a big laugh about that in this Craft IQ group that's doing this challenge because somebody suggested it, but I think it was a typo. Perhaps it was supposed to be flower stacking, but nobody actually came out and said, oh yeah, that's what it was meant to be. And so there was a lot of laughter about what is flower smacking? And so you might see me from here and there. I just kind of hit my flower stickers from time to time just to make sure I have smacked them. I'm not really sure, but I wanted to make sure I took care of that layer of this challenge. I did remove the stick off of the back of my stickers by using my anti-static pouch, and that way I could just move them around as I try to figure out where they go. And then yet another layer was to add some heat or dry embossing, and so off camera I just used my white embossing powder to stamp the word paradise onto this piece of cardstock. Because my parents' cabin where we are here in this picture is up in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan in a town called Paradise, and it really is paradise. We just really love going there, and it's so beautiful, and so it's aptly named. So that's why my title is going to be Paradise. And then for all along, I thought I was going to have my photo over on the left-hand side. But then, like I said, I just was really struggling, and I decided I'm just going to move it over here to the right. And then that kind of helped that little flower cluster in the bottom left corner come together a little bit better. I had gone through, I have a little bowl sitting on my desk of die cuts that I never end up using. And so that way when I kind of get stuck on a project, I just flip through all of those random extra die cuts, and perhaps there's something in there that might turn out to be helpful. And I found a couple of leaves that I had cut out of rosemary cardstock, and rosemary is the color of the green in this paper. And so that worked. And then I found that stitched square, and it was cut out of white cardstock. And so I just kind of put that behind. And like I said, once I just started layering a few things, I felt like then the ball got rolling and this page started to come together a little bit better for me. And I stopped feeling quite as frustrated. I mean, I do like the way that this page ends up looking at the end of it, but, you know, like I said, it was a bit of a struggle, and I don't know why it was, but it really was. So there, I just smacked my flower, again, just for good measure. Okay, so another thing I need to add as part of this challenge is some doodling. And so I am using my white gel pen, and I think I'm just going to put a little white stitch down here right next to my silver shimmer trim on this cardstock, and I'm going to count that as my doodling. Although the challenge did say that if you had journaling, that could be your doodling as well. And I will at the end of this add some journaling on some journaling strips, but this right here is what I'm going to count as my journaling element. Okay, and from that same bowl of extra die cuts that I have, I had a stitched circle, and I'm going to tuck part of that behind my photo over here to the right. I thought that maybe it's the same, stitched element that I have on that square down in my floral cluster, and so I thought that might be a good way just to kind of bring it over to the right-hand side of the page as well, even though it's a different shape. And then once I had that on there, I went back to the sticker sheet. And there are a bunch of cute little circle stickers on there that have words on them. And there's one that says explore. And so I just layered that over top of that white circle. And then there was a phrase sticker on the sticker sheet as well that says dream come true. And I'm going to add that to my flag cluster up here at the top. And I feel like I need some more things up there. That space still needs a little bit of help, but I'll return to that in a second. As far as my journaling goes, I am going to put it on strips of paper. And so I just grabbed some white daisy, and I want to say these are maybe like, maybe a half inch, not 3/4, maybe a half inch strip. And I'm just going to randomly make them different sizes ink up the edges to match up the other papers that are on the layout. And then off camera, I will write my journaling down. I did off camera add one extra strip that is not on here just because when I started writing things, I had a little bit more to say than I had room for, but that was a really easy fix since they were just strips of paper. And so that's a great way to add some journaling. And then, so as the final touch, like I said, I feel like it's still just a little bit naked and it needs a little something else. I turn to my wood hearts from Close to My Heart. Now, these particular hearts are discontinued, but there are some different ones that are available right now, along with buttons and flowers and stars and all sorts of fun things. I always use my wooden embellishments as the final touches when I get stuck on a layout because I love the way that they look. So I'm just going to scatter them around, making sure that I have them in all three areas on my clusters there, as well as up at the top flags. And then I put them down with some art glitter glue. And then the very final thing I'm doing here, other than writing my journaling, is I used a clear shimmer brush to put just a little bit of sparkle down there on that mulberry colored flower, and then on those two heart stickers that I put in that square. And that, my friends, is the end. I was so relieved to be done with this page, even though I do love it and I think that it's pretty. I don't know. I had no mojo when it came to this particular page, which was really sad because I liked the layers for this challenge. So there are a bunch of other ladies who are hopping along in this challenge for February. So make sure that you check out all of their links down below in the description. And if you see anything that you love and you're interested in, I am a Close to My Heart maker, and so I will link my products down below. But as always, thank you for watching and happy crafting.